Hello, I'm Shelley Stearns with Astroheart Wellness, and I'm here to talk about Mercury in your birth chart. Mercury is the planet of communication. So, this is both how you speak, how you non-verbally communicate, how you put forth information and ideas to others, and how you take in that information, how you perceive of things, and how you expect the world to be. Mercury is never going to be more than one sign away from your sun sign. And for those of us that have Mercury in the same sign as our sun sign, we often think or perceive of our ideas, of our minds, as the same as who we are, as the same as our egos, as the same as that bright light, the sun, that we use to express ourselves and our mission. And so we can have a real personal attachment to how we think, when really it's a separate thing. So knowing your Mercury, along with its blind spots, its preferences, the things it can do but isn't so inclined to do, things it loves to do where it's more comfortable, and knowing how you might be perceived by other people can be really, really helpful. Mercury helps us to create, to build stories, to connect with other people. It is so powerful and so much a part of our lives here on this earth. Mercury goes beyond what we might think of as simple communication. Mercury is all the forms of communication with all the things, all the people, all the animals, all the plants, everything. Your connection to everybody else in the universe around you, and how you stretch out into that universe, and how you tie into it and bring it back to you. So in this video, I only cover your Mercury sign. Know that there's a lot more to the story. There's all the aspects from other planets, the house that your Mercury is in, everything. Add layers of meaning to the way you communicate, how you perceive things, and how you take in information. So let's get started. Let's look at your Mercury. Hey, Mercury and Aries, you pack a punch. And I love you. I love you for that. And I love you for your sincere encouragement and your ability to break things down and decomplicate them. You are the fieriest of Mercuries, and you get to the point. Some famous Mercury and Aries for you. We have some Pisces sun with Mercury and Aries. Here we have the Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Liza Minnelli. Taurus sun with Mercury and Aries. Here we have Queen Elizabeth II and Mark Zuckerberg. And those Aries sun, Aries Mercury. Are you ready? Quentin Tarantino, Hugh Hefner. This is Mercury and Aries. Mercury in Aries is bold, it's direct, it's to the point. It will bring things down to a simplistic, not untrue, but simplistic level, to where it's easy to go at it and it's easy to explain it, because we've gotten rid of all the little nuances. This is one of the superpowers of Mercury and Aries, and it's something they do really well. This is Quentin Tarantino. This is Ruth Bader Ginsburg. You see things simply and without complication, and you can be very directive about it, and impatient because you don't understand why people are fiddle-faddling around. Like, it's very clear. It's very clear. And that's how you see things. And you have the power to really, really see and encourage other people. And you do, because that fire is passionate and bold. And Other people flock to you. They like it. Then again, some people don't. They might find you offensive, or they might find you boastful or egotistical. I'm thinking that when I listed those celebrities with Mercury and Aries, that if you know who they are, most people are either big fans or they really don't like them. So think about how this is something that Mercury and Aries can know about themselves and can use it. You can know that not everyone's going to jive with you. And normally Mercury and Aries is kind of okay with that. But hey, Aries and Mercury, you are competitive. You are abrupt, and you can be very assertive. You need to find an environment where this is valued. An environment where questioning the status quo and coming up with solutions instead of problems is actually appreciated. Because if you get in some environment where it's not, you're just going to be seen as a troublemaker all the time. No, you need to go where that fiery drive and that ability to see things to their core and to move forward, where that is valued. So when someone does have a problem for how you've spoken and how you've acted, you know that it's a possibility that you need to not dial yourself back, but let the other person speak for a while and take in what they're saying, because they too have beautiful things to say and they too have insight. So just use your passion, use your fire, use your spark, use your ability to cut through things, to flow through things. Use your ability to throw fire at things, to set things on fire, to ignite. Use that and be your bold, wonderful self. Hey, Mercury and Leo, I love you. I love you for your artistry, for your conviction, and that confidence that you exude. And you, more than any other Mercury sign, exude confidence, even if you aren't feeling confident. And to add to that, you probably are, because your Mercury, more than any other Mercury, is likely to actually be confident. You're ruled by the power of the sun, which is the brightest light in our solar system. You shine. And on top of that, Leo is a fixed sign. And that means you're not going back and forth and questioning your beliefs. You know what you believe, and you have the power of your passion behind it. So, your sun sign, more than any other Mercury, is going to influence how your Mercury is and how it expresses. Because Mercury in Leo, Leo is ruled by the sun. So, some famous Mercury people: Sun in Cancer, Mercury in Leo. We have Malala, and we have Nelson Mandela. And Virgo Sun, Leo Mercury, we have Michael Jackson and Dave Chappelle. And then the Leos, those Leo Sun, Leo Mercury, we have Jennifer Lopez and Barack Obama. Now, these are just a few examples, but maybe you can see not only the thread in these people's Mercuries and the way they express themselves, but also how their sun signs shift that Mercury just a little bit. You are passionate. Your voice is passionate. Your voice is powerful. Your voice is inspiring. Your voice can bring people together. It's got that power and that we can find really, really in a lot of celebrities, in actors and politicians. It's that power to gather people together through confidence and optimism. Some people might call you opinionated, strong-willed, self-centered, these kind of things. You don't weigh options so much as you go with what grabs you. You are dramatic and passionate, and you have the ability to draw everyone in. If you find yourself seeing an opinion, hearing an opinion, and not even considering it, like just barely hearing it, and not even actually hearing the full opinion, the full information, I have something for you to try. So take that opinion and see if you can build a person around it. Like, you might act this out, you might write a character, you might make a character, but either way, you're using your ability to create drama and to be seen, and take that person and see if you can figure out the passion that drives them to that opinion and how you can make them into a fully fleshed out character. And then you can take that character and you can use it in a creative way. And doing this will help you to better understand other people's opinions. You may know that you take in information easier when it's given with compliments. Whether these compliments are sincere or not, if they light you up, you're more likely to take in what the person is saying. Now, I'm not saying that you're gullible or naive. It's just that drama and passion and appreciation are very important to you. In fact, you need appreciation. You need to be appreciated, and you should be, because you're so bright and brilliant. And you have the ability to really bring that out in other people. So see if you can use your Mercury to show appreciation for other people, for what they do, and bring out their light. And do that while you're expressing your own inner self, your own bright light, through that drama, through that passion, through something you believe in. Bring us all together, because you can do that. You can make us all shine, and you'll shine too. Hey, Mercury and Sag, I love you. I love you for your inspiration, for your leadership, for your ability to be direct and to speak your truth with unbridled abandon. You are truly centered in that mission. Mercury and Sag is like a forest fire. It's that burning passion of seeking the truth, of learning the truth, of going after whatever our minds can experience and whatever our voices can put forth. So we've got some celebrities with Mercury and Sagittarius, and I think it might help you get a feel of the essence of what Mercury and Sagittarius is. So to start off, Scorpio suns with Mercury and Sagittarius, we have Bjork and Gordon Ramsay. And then Capricorn suns with Mercury and Sagittarius, Diane Sawyer and LeBron James. And the Sag suns with Mercury and Sagittarius, we have Ozzy Osbourne, Bette Midler, Jon Stewart. All of these people who have different expressions have a similar thing about them. There is a quest in these people to communicate the truth, to get under things and expose them. And I think this is so interesting because I would use some of those words for Mercury and Scorpio, but that's going to be a little bit different of a vibe. For Mercury and Sagittarius, there is a voice that's going to need to boom out or to write, but to somehow go to the point and get the truth out there. And that quest for meaning is all encompassing. Mercury and Sag really values that. And they're not going to care what their friends think or what their society thinks or what their parents think. Now, I'm not saying these people wouldn't ever consider that. And they might think of it more after they've said something, but in the moment, it's more important to them that the truth is put out there. And where this can go awry is that this is your personal truth as a Mercury and Sag. And that doesn't mean it's not connected to universal truth, but it isn't everyone else's truth. So people can really get rubbed the wrong way. They can get upset, they can get hurt and angry by your vocalism. So it's really important for you to find a way to have an outlet where your directness is appreciated. So think of these celebrities that I mentioned and how some of them might be offensive to some people, but they've found a way to be appreciated for the ways that they communicate and for, quite frankly, their inspiration. That's the other side of this. You are very inspiring. You have the ability to lead people, to motivate them. And don't forget that, because that is one of your superpowers. And because you know that you might be hitting nerves with people, and you might be saying things sometimes in a way that you didn't mean. You're often going to be saying them in a way that you do mean, but when we get down to especially interpersonal relationships, the way you communicate things can often be misinterpreted, at least to the full extent of where you want them to land. So be open to those close to you coming back at you later, and know that the force of your words were probably absorbed stronger than you meant them to be. And to help you with your ability to inspire, I would say team up with somebody who has a more detail-oriented approach to things, because you can really see the big picture and you get so bored by those little details. And in fact, sometimes your ability to see past those details is what makes you able to go so far. But sometimes you need that detail person, and that detail person can help you figure out the little steps or the little things that need to be done. So team up with somebody and go it alone. These are both possible, and you can do them at different times in your life. Be bold, inspire, be humble, be willing to shift your viewpoint as you will. And don't worry about it when people say, oh, but you were over here and now you're over here. This is you going after the truth. This is you finding the truth. And you will find it. You will go after it. Be bold. Burn your fire. Hey, Mercury and Taurus, you have a beautiful voice. Yes, Taurus is ruled by Venus. And so when we mix Mercury and Venus together, we often get a really beautiful voice. So a lot of Mercury and Tauruses are singers, or they just have a way of expressing that is really beautiful. And I love you. I love you for your appreciation of nature, for your staying power, for your consideration, your careful consideration. And truly, what I really love about you is your ability to take the sensual and manifest that in an intellectual and artistic way. Mercury in Taurus is interesting because it's not about the body. Mercury doesn't rule the body, but because it's Taurus, the body is going to come into play. So Mercury and Taurus people have a connection to the body, they can express the language of the body verbally, and they have a lot of thoughts about their bodies and about how the body works. So some famous Mercury and Tauruses, just to give you a taste of how Mercury and Taurus might manifest in different sun signs, how they can share a thread, but also have different qualities. So first off, the Aries suns. So here we have Aries suns with Taurus Mercury, Shannon Doherty and Shirley MacLaine. And then we have some Gemini suns with Taurus Mercury, Morgan Freeman and JFK. And then we have some Tauruses, Taurus suns with Taurus Mercuries, Jack Nicholson, Uma Thurman, Salvador Dali, Orson Welles. So all of these share the qualities of a Taurus Mercury. And I think we can say there is something about the voices that these people carry. Even though they might be beautiful in different ways, they still carry something that inspires. Taurus and Mercury, you look for solid ground. You look for the tangible things that you could take in with your senses to give you information. And you really ask the question, why change what is already working? Why would you change it? You are steady. You're able to stick with it, and you have an artistic sense because you are so connected to the body, to the senses, and that which we take in with our senses. So Mercury and Taurus can go a long way with expressing beauty that is connected to food or to sex or to climbing a mountain. All of these things are great ways for Mercury and Taurus to express themselves. Now, it's not so much the physical actions as their ability to portray those physical actions with their voice, with their words, with their writing. You are a problem solver and you do not like being rushed. And there's something about you that is driven by beauty in some way. Mercury in Taurus is really connected to the expression of beauty. And you love surrounding yourself with beauty, but you also bring that to other people. And because you are so focused, you can really create art. And if that's not your thing, you can also create in whatever it is that's your chosen area, because you have the ability to really get down to the practicality and the tangible. You probably have been accused of being stubborn or shrewd or having tunnel vision, But at the same time, it is that ability to have tunnel vision that keeps you focused on your mission, that keeps you going, that makes you able to get to that end result. And it's important that you look at your life and figure out an environment you can be in that supports you, that doesn't rush you, and that appreciates the practicality of the earth and the wisdom of the earth, and allows you to freely manifest things at your own pace and in your own way. One of your greatest powers is your connection to the earth, your connection to the sensual, your connection to beauty, and your ability to use that to uplift other people, to both uplift yourself and then to see beauty in other people and use that to uplift them, to help their mission, to help them be a little more stable and focused, and to do so in a way that doesn't interfere with their process. So see if you can step back sometimes from the judgment and let people be their erratic selves if they gotta be their erratic selves. And if you gotta separate yourself from that, do so. But let them be what they're gonna be. And bring your beauty to that. And sink into your alone time and into everything that makes you feel safe and connected. Hey, Mercury and Virgo, I love you. And I love you for your care, for your ability to identify all the parts and pieces, for your dedication, and the way that you ride your own moral code and stick to it. You have the most dignified of the Mercuries. In astrology, we say that Mercury in Virgo is in its rulership and its exaltation. You have a Mercury that functions. All those details, all those facts, your mind is quick and it gets down to the nitty-gritty. So some famous Mercury and Virgos for you, just so you can see a little bit about how Mercury and Virgo can work its magic in different and various ways. So first off, we have some Leo suns with Mercury and Virgo, Dustin Hoffman and Madonna. And some Libra suns with Mercury and Virgo, Fran Drescher and Donald Glover. And those Virgo suns with Mercury and Virgo, we have Prince Harry, Pink, and Freddie Mercury. Yes, Freddie Mercury, because Mercury rules him and he has an exalted, domiciled Mercury. It's a very strong Mercury in the sign of Virgo. If you have an idea now for what Mercury and Virgo can do, these are not the only things, but it's just a taste of it. And this shows you how clever Mercury and Virgo is with words, how it understands both language and people, and is dedicated to the service of something. In fact, one of the things you do when you take in information is you ask yourself, how can this serve? Is this the right thing to do? And is there enough of it? Okay, what I mean by that is there's never enough information. You're constantly searching for new information. In fact, you're prone to thinking you never have enough of it and you're not good enough because there's so much more to learn. You can always be better and better and better. And this can be an asset because you're constantly learning and growing. And it can also be a debilitating thing and it can stop you from moving forward. Imperfection is a human trait. You can become too focused on perfection for both others and for yourself. And you may be perceived as nitpicky or judgmental. And some of this is just about you knowing that there's more, that there's something greater you can become, that there's something beyond what people see. And also that you're holding other people up to this standard. That when you criticize something, you're not necessarily trying to rip someone apart, but someone might perceive it that way. You are sharp, practical, and you understand complexity. And this attention to detail and to all the things in a situation make you prone to anxiety and stress. So take care of yourself. Find ways to separate yourself from time to time from that detail and from those moments. And put your brain into another mode. Like try running or swimming, physical activity, something where you're using the body, something where you're using the brain in a different way. Get lost in music, cooking. There are so many different things that it could be, knitting. But find something that you can do that uses your hands and focus on the methodical nature of using your hands or using your body. And dedicate yourself to helping people so that when you go and you're so good at this, you're so good at seeing the details and picking them out and saying, no, that's not right. No, it's not right. That can be better. And if it is right, there's more to it. There's beyond. And you push us to that. So use that to uplift people rather than put them down. And the tone with which you speak and the way you communicate mean everything in these situations. Look for ways to put yourself into environments where complexity is needed, where that attention to detail matters. And pair up with someone who maybe is a bigger picture thinker and work with them, because you can help them with the steps and all the details, and they can help take your details and make a fully fleshed out idea, something that is practical in the sense that it actually works and manifests. And know that you are one of the best people in a crisis because you're practical and you're going to go with the facts rather than get caught up in the emotional details. So you're someone who can work really well in situations like an emergency room or a firefighter or something where that pressure to respond is immediate, and also the need for integrity and care for other people is also immediate. Use your ability to pick out all the details and to see the shortcomings to remind us all how to stick to our own ethical code and to work through the questions and to change our minds if need be, but not to change them for the sake of ease or simplicity, but for the sake of what is actually the right path to follow. And above all, use your mind, use your beauty, use your brains, but take care of yourself. Schedule in time to play and time to relax. And that brilliant mind of yours will actually function better that way. Hey, Mercury and Capricorn, I love you. I do. I love you. And I love you for your skepticism, for your strategy, and for your ability to project calm that calms other people down in almost every situation. You are the most practical of all the Mercuries, and you get it done. It's famous Capricorn Mercuries, just to give you a taste of how Mercury and Capricorn can flow. So first up, Sagittarius suns with Mercury and Capricorn. We have Stephen Munchen, Jane Fonda, and Phil Donahue. And then some Aquarius suns with Mercury and Capricorn. We have Ellen DeGeneres and Charles Dickens. And then the Caps, the Capricorn suns with Capricorn Mercuries. We have Michelle Obama, and perhaps the most famous manifestation of Mercury and Capricorn of all, James Earl Jones, known for the voice of Darth Vader. Okay, I'm not trying to say Mercury and Capricorn is evil. It's just that really deep voice that he has, and it really manifests part of how Mercury and Capricorn can come through. And he also has that ability to work really hard and to use his voice for something that embodied something. And I want to mention here, because Mercury and Capricorn is practical and it's really good at manifesting in the mundane world, and that isn't to say that you cannot be artistic. You can, and it's interesting because sometimes you are going to be more successful at art than some other Mercury signs because you have the ability to see the big picture step by step. When you take in information, you're going to ask, how can this contribute to success? Is this practical? Is it useful? Is it right? And how will it work? Because you're really good at breaking things down into their pieces and figuring them out. Like solving problems by getting down into all the bits and pieces and taking your time, which some people are going to think, oh, you're really slow. But actually, you're not slow. You're just seeing the bigger picture and building the blocks and figuring out how that would work over time. Mercury and Capricorn, you have an innate ability to categorize, to break things into tangible structures that yield tangible results, because that's what you care about. That's what you're moving towards. And you compartmentalize. And this can be very beneficial to you when you're working on some kind of project and wanting to manifest something. It can get you perceived as cold and detached and unemotional. And it's not that Mercury in Capricorn is unemotional. In fact, your moon sign is going to show us a little bit more about your emotions, but the way you express emotions and in what situations is gonna be different than a lot of other people, and you might have trouble expressing them, especially in your interpersonal relationships. It would be helpful to those you're in a relationship with to have a discussion about this and see if you can not get judgy on them for being emotional sometimes when the situation you think might not warrant emotions. It may not. It might be a time where we need to remain calm and detached, but I wonder if you can try this. Try imagining as you build the blocks where there might be a piece where emotions are helpful and warranted, or impracticality could even be helpful. And see if you can call on people who express those qualities so that they can contribute to this larger thing that you're manifesting. So you might be slower to make decisions, but that also means that you stick with them because you've thought them through. And it's important for you to put yourself into situations, especially your career. Put yourself into an environment where the way you think, the way where you take your time and get all the pieces together, where maybe skepticism is appreciated and your ability to work hard and with integrity to your ethics and to what you believe is right, where that is valued and where people are going to take the time to understand that, or rather take the time to appreciate it and know that you will get there, and that when you do, the whole group is going to benefit from it. You may be seen as pessimistic or elitist or more conservative than you are. Now, that depends on a lot of things in your chart, but because of the way Capricorn Mercury presents, even if they have a more liberal mindset, they can often be perceived as conservative. So just be aware of that and be aware of how people might see you. And also with that, though, is that they're going to see you as having authority. So even when you don't have authority, you have that power to draw people in and to steer the direction that things are going. So you can really use that for whatever purpose it is that you want to use it for. Hi, Mercury and Gemini. I love you. I love you because you're so fun. You're stimulating. And you've got an agile mind. Seriously, you figure things out. So, Mercury in Gemini is in its rulership along with Virgo, but Mercury in Gemini is like the quintessential sort of Mercury moving around from place to place. If you think of the mythology, Mercury moves between worlds. Mercury was the only god who could go from the heavens to the underworld to the earth simply by its own power and ease. It's a messenger. So Mercury in Gemini is a lot like this. Mercury in Gemini moves around from place to place, from person to person, transferring and gathering information. Some famous Mercury in Geminis for you, just to give you a little show of what Mercury in Gemini is capable of. Taurus suns with Mercury in Gemini, Karl Marx and Audrey Hepburn. And then we have some Cancer suns with Mercury in Gemini. Here we have George Michael and Meryl Streep. And then a couple super Geminis, those Gemini suns with Mercury in Gemini. Marilyn Monroe, Bob Dylan, and I'll throw in a third one, Prince. All of these people are so Gemini. You, with your Mercury Gemini, are capable of that wordsmithing, that power, that social butterflyness, that ability to, no matter what else is going on with you in your chart or how comfortable you are with it, you are able to flit around from person to person. You know something about everything, and you're funny. And you need to be stimulated. So, you will create situations where you are stimulated if you don't have them. And that can mean playing tricks or mixing things up. You might even create stories just to get some stimulation going. So it's important for you to figure out how to get your stimulation in positive ways that doesn't hurt other people. And sometimes playing tricks is fine. It depends on what the trick is. You actually take in information by spreading it. And when you're presented with information, when it's new, it's probably like, how fun, how interesting. Wow. Okay. I'm just done with that. And FOMO, fear of missing out. That's something that's going to be happening for Mercury and Gemini because there's always something to miss out on. There's always something more. There's always something new to experience and be and learn. And so your mind is searching for that stimulation in all directions and places. And because you can sometimes have that initial intensity where you're like, wow, that's so exciting, so cool. People can misinterpret your behavior, and you can be perceived as non-committal or flighty or shallow. You do have this quest for information, and because you do tend to go from here to there and gather it, people can misinterpret that initial intensity and interest as an interest that wants to go deeper and wants to commit. And that's their thing, as long as you're not playing your games. But if you're not playing games with them, then, let that be their thing, but treat people with care and respect and say, yeah, look, I don't want to go deeper with that. I don't want to commit to that. That's okay. And you don't have to feel guilty about it. It's just who you are, if that's who you are in the moment. And you can move on. And any ability that you have, if you know up front that that's not something you're going to want to go deeper with, you can tell them. And then that will alleviate the misunderstanding before it happens. It's important for you to remain stimulated. And you probably already know this, but seeking out new people is important. And even just those interactions you can have with strangers while standing in line somewhere or wherever you are can help you to stimulate yourself, to take care of yourself. And your ability to be a trickster, well, you can use that to uplift people, not to hurt people, not to make fun of people, but to uplift them through humor and through that ability to be childlike that you have. And yes, even though you do need to be stimulated, you also sometimes need to detox. And this is super important. Sometimes you need to be alone, and sometimes you need to process your emotions. So it's important for you to find that balance and to express yourself. Create in your desired medium. It could be anything. It could be slam poetry or pop music or social media or just talking to your friends. But it's really important for you to have an outlet. So use your Mercury in all its ways and explore and let the changes happen. And you'll be great. You're going to teach us all something. And we're all going to learn something different. Hey, Mercury and Libra, I love you. I love you for your ability to bring us all together and to do so with grace. And your understanding that sweetness motivates. And your brilliant mind that can actually figure things out and work through things. You can do a lot on your own with that mind. even in situations where you're thriving with other people. Some famous Mercury and Libras. First off, Virgo Sun with Mercury and Libra, Jack Black and Beyonce. And then some Scorpio Suns with Mercury and Libra, Bill Gates, Ruth Gordon, and Joaquin Phoenix. And then the Libras, Libra Sun with Mercury and Libra. We have Vladimir Putin, Barbara Walters, Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, and F. Scott Fitzgerald. Mercury in Libra is really, really capable of being a great writer or a great orator. You know how to express your words with beauty and grace, and to be very persuasive at the same time. And you really like for people to want to be around you, to be drawn to your voice. And I don't mean that in a selfish kind of way. I mean it in that you are focused on the group and having people come together for the sake of clarity and for the sake of community and for people to be on the same page about things and overcoming their differences. You are a diplomat and a peacekeeper. And before you say something, you're going to ask yourself, how is this going to be perceived? Is it harmonious? What purpose does it serve? Is it kind? And how am I going to embody the most beautiful expression of these words? And the same for when you take in information. Are what they're saying, is it useful, but is it kind? Is it needed? Are those words said in the way that is the most effective for maintaining balance and harmony? And you really care about this. And you can use it to uplift people. And you love to give people compliments and flirt, which can sometimes lead to the misunderstanding that you are actually more interested in someone than you are. And that attention to that beauty and that grace can make you pull away from people if they express something in a bold or strong or aggressive way. And it can also lead you to not express yourself because you're going to weigh things as to how they're going to be received by the other person. And this can be very, very positive, but it can also cause you to hold back and hold back and hold back until you actually, when you do come out, you explode a little bit, and that person had no idea that you had any problem with what they were doing. I challenge you to think about how bringing up unpleasant things can actually help there to be less unpleasantness or a lower amount of unpleasantness in the future. And if people are being too aggressive, tell them. Because sometimes you might shut down and take yourself away from a situation where your help is sorely needed, desperately needed. And your ability to mediate and bring people together is really important when everyone's shouting at each other. Now, I'm not saying don't walk away if that's what you need to do, because sometimes that is actually the best choice. So schedule in your time to relax, to take care of yourself, because this is really important. And then give back. Give to the group. Use your skills to mediate. And If you feel like shutting down, take a break. And if you're feeling indecisive, just take the time you need to figure it out. Don't let people push you into a decision, but then be willing to express that opinion and that decision once you've made it. And this will be the best for everyone. And keep up your beautiful words, because these are inspiring and they help us all and they help you. And we'll be looking for more of it. We need it so much. We always will. Hello, Mercury and Aquarius. I love you. You have a brilliant mind. And I don't know where you get that confidence. It's so amazing. And really, you have the ability to teach us all about life and the universe. And you're in tune. Mercury and Aquarius gets information from everything. You are both logical and intuitive, which is a really awesome pairing. So, some famous Mercury and Aquarians. First of all, we're going to do some Capricorn suns with Mercury and Aquarius. LL Cool J and Jason Bateman. And then Pisces suns with Mercury and Aquarius. Here we have Anais Nin, Jack Kerouac, and Steve Jobs. And then a couple of your Aquarians, Aquarius suns, Aquarius Mercury. We have Judy Blume and Bob Marley. Mercury and Aquarius, you follow your own path. You follow your mind. And this is one of the most beautiful things about you, is that you are not stuck with how you grew up. You don't answer to other people's expectations about your mind, about your ideas, because you know you're right and you move forward on your path. You stick with it. You stick with what you believe in, and you share that information with all of us because you can connect with anyone. Mercury and Aquarius, you take in information from all sides. And not just the sides, the places and the atmospheres and everything. Because really, you're on information's actual frequency. It's coming at you. And you filter it through this belief system that you have that is yours. And you're going to ask yourself, is this the correct thing to do? And this is going to be according to your standards. I think it's very important to bring up here that Aquarius is Saturn ruled, which means you are all about structures and rules, and you follow rules. You follow them. Other people might not notice that because they think you're breaking rules all the time, because you break those rules out here. You break society's rules. You break the rules you grew up with. You break everything else, but you have your very own strict set of rules. So that's one filter you're going to put your information through. Does it follow the rules? It's not that you can't change your rules, but if you do, it's going to be based on information that you've gathered over time. Another thing for you is that, does this benefit the greater good? And I think this phrase, the greater good is for the greater good, really fits you. And I know that maybe that doesn't make sense to some people, but the greater good is one of the most important things for you. You are about the group. You are about the larger picture. And this can sometimes lead to misunderstandings with individuals because you are able to envision the greater picture, and because you look at the greater good, and also because you're able to connect with so many people, people can really misinterpret your intentions. You probably have people thinking you're more serious about them than you actually are. And with that, people can find you cold or detached. When you're interacting with people, remember that. Remember that some people are going to have more emotional needs than other people, and that those emotional needs are going to be met in different ways. And in so much as you're in a personal relationship with someone, they are going to need to identify with that and communicate. And you can be a good communicator. So when you're feeling like possibly judgmental about someone's emotional expression, just take a step back and think about how that emotional expression and their unique talents and their unique abilities, how that can fit into this larger picture of the greater good. And how can you, as someone who's really good at strategizing and organizing and seeing the bigger picture, how can you boost them up and help them and fit them into those pieces that will contribute to that larger picture? And use that ability to mentally detach to help you be more objective when it's needed, to help pick out all the pieces of really complex social situations or complex algorithms. So use your mind and and stay true to that your need for intellectual freedom, and push people's boundaries, because that's something that you do really well, is push other people's boundaries and push all of us into something that we didn't think was possible before. Hello, Mercury in Cancer. I love you. I love you for your memory, for your imagination, and most of all, your ability to listen, to converse, to put value on the conversation and on the person you're listening to. You are a water Mercury that is very, very nonverbal, very much in touch with the ways that we can communicate without speaking. But what also is interesting about Mercury in Cancer is Mercury in Cancer can be very, very verbose. It's very changeable. So one moment you might find a Mercury in Cancer really not being able to speak at all, like literally mute. And then other times you will see a Mercury in Cancer talking rapid fire. So this is part of Mercury in Cancer's story. It changes, it's changeable. Mercury in Cancer is not emotional. Cancer is more in tune with emotions. And a Mercury in Cancer is going to answer to the moon sign somewhat. But the moon is the emotional part of the individual, not the Mercury. So we've got some Gemini suns with Cancer and Mercury, Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen, Judy Garland, and Natalie Portman. Some Leo suns with Cancer Mercuries are Carl Jung and Lawrence Fishburne. And the Cancer suns with Cancer Mercuries, a few of those are Harrison Ford, Cyndi Lauper, and Forrest Whitaker, and Elon Musk. So this diversity of Cancer Mercuries might help you get a feel of what it is that Cancer Mercury is about, regardless of the sun sign. Mercury in Cancer is a super imaginative Mercury. It can envision things, and it has the memory to actually remember all the details. It's perceptive, it's meticulous, and very, very cautious. This is part of where Cancer and Mercury can be misunderstood, because it can be so cautious that it doesn't express itself. And when it doesn't feel safe, it might actually clam up and not speak. And sometimes this is a conscious thing, and sometimes it really is difficult. The Cancer Mercury just can't get the words out. And they need to be not only with someone they trust, but they need to be in the moment able to trust that person and to trust the situation. And sometimes that means with a Cancer Mercury that you've got to come back a different time and express. And sometimes even in the same conversation, you might find something over here and grab it and say it, and then find something over here and grab it and say it. And then you have to go back over here because you didn't get everything said that you wanted to say. And if people know that about you, it will help them to better understand you. You're influenceable by the people around you, especially people you care about. Sometimes you have to remind yourself to actually express yourself verbally, because you do express yourself non-verbally, and often that is heard by certain people, but other people, it goes kind of past them and they don't get all the information. And so it's really important for you to express yourself verbally, because if you don't, and then you get resentful and you think someone else should have understood you, or you snap at them because they didn't understand you, these are all things that can be avoided, and you can still use the power of your Mercury, which is that you're really good at intimate situations, and you can also put the facts in an emotional context. You can take those facts and make them relatable to large groups of people, to other people. You have that ability to manifest with your words that which other people don't see. So take that Mercury in Cancer and use it to help other people, because that's part of where you're going to get away from feeling like you're not included. So some of the most important things for Mercury in Cancer is don't hold back, and don't let other people convince you that your way is wrong because it doesn't fit into the way that we think people should think or express themselves, or how they might go about doing that. Take the time you need. Process alone, process with your friends, process with your loved ones, and be willing to come back later and say, I got it now. Here's this information. Do the mental processing, do the research, do the speaking, do the writing. But when you need to make a decision, after you process things mentally and you've done all that work, step aside and do something else. Go swimming, go for a walk, cook something, go to sleep, dream, whatever it is. Use a different part of your brain. This is really important for Mercury in Cancer, because by doing that, you can tap into the other ways that our brain processes, the other ways that information comes to us. Know that you are changeable and embrace that changeability. It's okay. And speak from your heart always, because that power of emotion behind the logic, behind the expression, is something that you're really good at. And if you're not getting something, or if you're getting it but you can't express it, either one, follow the breadcrumbs in your mind. And if those breadcrumbs take you an hour, they take you 5 minutes, they take you overnight, or they take you a year, or whatever, you will make the connections. And once you get there, you're off and running. Hey, Mercury and Scorpio, I love you for your undercover stealth, your diligence, and your passion. You are a water Mercury, which means you get below the surface and you figure things out. And you are a little more in tune to those things that can't be seen, that can't be defined. And you're really good at getting underneath them. Water Mercuries are nonverbal in a lot of ways that other Mercuries aren't, and may rely a lot on nonverbal communication. Some famous Mercury Scorpios we have in the sign of Libra. We have Mahatma Gandhi, Snoop Dogg, and Aleister Crowley. Those are Libra suns, but they still express in a very Scorpion, Mercury and Scorpio way. Then, if we look at the Sages, we have Rainer Maria Rilke and Miley Cyrus to the Scorpio Sun, Scorpio Mercuries. We have Martin Scorsese, Sylvia Plath, Pablo Picasso, Hillary Clinton, Carl Sagan. All of these share the common ground of Scorpio Mercury, even though they're going to have different expressions and different missions. Mercury in Scorpio is secretive, passionate, suspicious, will get to the bottom of things, and loves taboo topics. You go beyond the beyond. If you want to know something, there are really no limits to how far you will go and the diligence with which you will do it. You do not get bored. That rabbit hole was made for you. You really like to take people by surprise. This is part of how you work. You often think you're smarter than other people. You have that sense of, I know what's going on, and I can do this. I can work through it. And no matter what it is that they're doing over here, I got it. People might not even know it, that you were the one that got the right answer, that you were the one that figured it out, but you will stay one step ahead of them and you will pack a punch somehow. It's important to you to filter the source of your information because you do not trust easily, if at all. Those close to you are going to have to be vetted before you're going to share information with them. And you're often going to do it in a way so as to gain information about them. You love people confiding in you, and you're a really great listener. You're one of the best listeners there are. And that intimacy will bring out, the intimacy with people you trust will bring out some of your secrets, but probably not all of them. Your ability to argue is unprecedented once you have the information and you've figured out the situation. Because you might be silent, but those silences will be in the exact moments and they will draw information out of someone else. You're gonna make some people uncomfortable with your ability to really get into the core of who they are. And sometimes you can come across as cold or calculating when you don't even mean to be. You may seem like you're prying into something that people don't want you to know. And so just be aware that that's something that someone might experience and judge whether when you're in a situation of that's something that is appropriate for where you are right now. Some of the best advice for your Mercury is to make sure that you have alone time, to spend that time to process away from other people and to take that information in. But also to push yourself a little bit to express your ideas, to make them stronger, to collaborate with other people, to speak your opinions and your facts and your discoveries with other people to help you make them stronger and to help you connect more. In fact, if you're feeling really bold, I challenge you to take a new idea you have and find a stranger and tell them your idea and see what they say. And you can use that information to make your ideas stronger, and you won't be risking what you'd be risking if you told someone that you're close to. This is a way where you can both grow as an individual and you can strengthen your ideas. Maximize your Mercury. As always, stay safe and engage yourself where you want to be engaged, but you are really good at helping people process their trauma. Do it within a safe space. And another thing you're really good at is investigating and prosecuting. You can uncover something from someone who's very tight-lipped and doesn't want the information to get out. And finally, you can grow by confiding in other people. You can transform yourself, come out the other end with something new just for having shared it on an intimate level. Be vulnerable and go out there and give us some secret details. Hello, Mercury and Pisces. I love you for your artistic ability, your compassion, really your ability to fully understand, to morph into something that is a good listener and also can truly go beyond just the listening and really make someone feel as though they are heard. So you are the wateristy of the watery Mercuries, of all the Mercuries, because you're the fish and you never leave the water. And that means you're the most empathic, the most psychic, the most nonverbal. And this can lead to amazing abilities to understand other people, situations, and animals. And your realms are things like art and music, but that isn't the only place that we can find a Pisces Mercury. Pisces Mercury can be found everywhere, as any Mercury, but Pisces Mercury has the ability to understand and really, really vibe with whatever it is that they're communicating, whatever realm it is they're communicating within. So some famous Pisces Mercuries. First off, we've got some Aries Suns, Pisces Mercuries. There we have Billie Holiday, Aretha Franklin, and Lady Gaga. And some famous Aquarius Suns with Pisces Mercuries are Yoko Ono and Charles Darwin. And the Pisces of the Pisces Sun, Pisces Mercury, we have Mitt Romney, we have Sharon Stone, Johnny Cash, and Kurt Cobain. Now, these are just some examples, and I just give you those examples to show you how an Aries sun and a Pisces sun and an Aquarius sun might all be musicians, for example, but they do things in different ways. So your adaptable mercurial nature in the sign of water can have you acting or being perceived in a few ways. So, as I said, you can be seen as the best listener ever, the one who understands, the one who is the connection to the other. And you can also be seen as deceptive and a liar. And it's not that you are a liar. In fact, I don't think that's something that a Pisces Mercury would do consciously. It's that you have such an inner world and such a connection to unseen things that you always believe what you're saying. And often these stories are very true. But sometimes you have a dream about something, or you imagine something, and you don't differentiate, as a lot of other people will, between what's happening on this physical plane and what's happening somewhere else. And if there's a story that you've had, that you've experienced in your head or somewhere else, you will tell that story to someone else, fully believing that it is a true and solid earthly bound story, when it may not be. But you also, with that, can really, really show people what there is beyond what they might see. Because your Mercury is so adaptable, and that's one of your superpowers, you can also be easily convinced of things. If there's a good story behind something, you're likely to fall on board with it. So it's good if you have people you trust that you can put in a position to kind of act as a container for you, so that you can say, hey, just could you check in with me once in a while to see where I'm at with things, and we can talk it through and just spend some time together and see where you see something that you see something that I might not be seeing, simply because I have the ability to understand everything and to go with the story of everything. You make everything make sense for people on a level that they didn't know that it could make sense on, that feels so deeply rooted and connected and flowing with everything else in the universe. You take in all the subtleties, all the nuances, your mind and your body and everything about you is being bombarded constantly. And so, one, it's so important for you to have alone time, to be able to separate yourself from your loved ones once in a while, just so that you can know what you're taking in is yours, and know who you are and what your opinions are in a situation. And sometimes that means physical separation, and sometimes that means doing something for a moment, for a specific period of time, to actually put up some kind of barriers. And communication with these people that you care about is important, so they know that you're taking that time, but you still love them and you still want them in your lives, but you just need this time for yourself. And you also need, because the bombardment isn't just from people physically being in the room, it's about a lot of different things. You need escape. You need healthy ways of escape that work for you, that work with where you want to be in your life and where you want to be going. Because you are going to go down rabbit holes and you are going to find something to get lost in. And there are things that you could get lost in that are going to take you down paths that probably aren't so healthy, like alcohol or unhealthy relationships. So it would be great if you had a Virgo or some earth, someone with a lot of earth in their chart, to ground you a little bit and check in with you every once in a while. And your beautiful voice, your beautiful ideas, your ability to connect with all of us is going to be appreciated always. Thank you so much for listening, for learning more about your Mercury. I'm Shelley Stearns with Astroheart Wellness, and you can find me on Instagram and YouTube at Astroheart Wellness. I would love to hear more about your Mercury. how you've maybe learned something from this video about how you can use your superpowers that your Mercury has to express yourself, to benefit yourself, and to benefit other people. And how you can understand someone else a little better by knowing about their Mercury. So, see you next time. Speak your mind, do your thing, and do it in your Mercury style.